Hello, online pipe community. Ethan, Parsimonious Piper here. It is time for another Parsimonious pipe and a little bit of a blend review of this week's blend of the week. This week's pipe is a 3-star pipe by Lee Lovat, carved. You can barely see the stars, so we'll have to get a little closer look on this one. Here you can see why the stars were barely visible. These are 3 5-point stamped stars. They would have originally been filled with some type of gold paint, gold foil, which has worn off in the intervening years, leaving only the little recessed stamps from the stars themselves. The Pipe by Lee logo in the middle looks pretty good. This one doesn't have before and after because it came pretty clean. I had just had to do a little bit of sanitizing and a tiny bit of cleanup, but not too much. Here we get a little closer look. You can see there's still some relief into the stem, the vulcanite, plastic, whatever hard rubber this one happens to be. So I did not buff this stem out. There's still a little bit of oxidation in it, which you'll see more in one of the other pictures. But if I buff this out, I'm going to lose what little is left of those stars. So just going to have to live with it. Reverse side shows a little more of this carving. They're sort of leaves. And I do have one other Lee pipe that has this carving on it. It's an unsmoked and ironically another Lovat. But it has a little more of an apple-shaped bowl, but it still classifies, I guess, qualifies as a Lovat because it is a long shanked saddle stem. At any rate, this carving was something that normally we would see on their second line, the Briar Lee, as a routine thing. Not so much on the Lees. I am guessing that in this late era pipe, they were running out of great briar, and so they had to do something to cover up more flaws than they had in their earlier sets of briar. The top was just a little dirtier than this. I decided not to sand through that. There's a little bit of char there. I do think that's in the briar itself, not something that will come off without polishing. But since I can't see it while I'm smoking it, I don't care about it. So it's a perfectly functional pipe, even with just a little bit of charring. You notice, at least on this one, that the rim is still true. It wasn't charred so much that it reshaped anything. Finally, a look at the internals. Whoever cleaned this pipe up before sale did a pretty good job of it. Like I said, I just had to sanitize it. This, unlike most Pipe by Lee pipes, this is a push stem. Most of them have a screw-in tenon. The later years in particular did have this cheaper setup. I think this was probably made when the company was in its death throes. You can see on the stem the oxidation on that. It's not really green, but it is a milky gray color. And that's just not going to come out without me removing those stars. Now, because it was a unique shape, that did fill a hole in my collection. And it really, really clean. I had to do so little work on this. And I only spent $37 and change, including taxes and shipping. It's hard to beat that for a perfectly functional pipe. Nowadays, it just really is. Now, what am I smoking in it? Well, if you saw the thumbnail for this video, you'll know the blend of the week this week was none other than Cornell & Deal's 8 State Burley. Now, this is the 2021 release. I have a couple tins of the 22 release. I think it was 22 the next year. But I haven't cracked either of those for comparison. This was gifted to me by the wonderful Brad, the Bearded Piper at the Ohio show. Thank you so much, Brad. Now, this is titled 8 State Burley. Just a second, I'm going to knock some of that out and relight. It is titled 8 State Burley. However, every description of it, including from Jeremy Reeves himself, describes the Burleys as only coming from 2 states, which would be Kentucky and Maryland. Specifically, he cites a white burley and a dark burley. More on those in just a second. Then there are 3 kinds of Orientals and a couple different kinds of Virginias. Now, the Virginias could have come from, all over Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. I'm confused as to what 8 states are involved. I have not seen that list. If somebody has that list, leave it in the comments for me, or a pointer to it. I would like to know. So my first quibble is with the number of states. My second quibble is that this is advertised as a Burley blend. Okay, yeah, but if you are expecting another Cornell and Deal style Burley, this is not it. For some of you, that will be a good thing. You don't like the rough and tumble edges of, say, an Old Joe Krantz or a haunted bookshop. Fair enough. This is not that. You may enjoy this. But this is where that white Burley comes into play. If you have not had white Burley on its own, or blends that were very high in it, it can be sour, it can be floral, spicy. In fact, it can be an awful lot like it wants to be a member of the Orientals family. And when I smoke this, what I am getting is dominated by sour, floral, spicy, and by that spicy, I don't mean hot like spicy hot sauce, but spices. It doesn't, if you just gave this to me, I would not just guess Burley, I would guess Oriental forward. And that's probably the Burley, the white Burley, playing in with that. Now there's some depth to it. That you can taste the other components. There's a little sweetness to it. I'm guessing that's from the Virginias. But this to me is dominated by the Oriental characteristics of the Orientals and the white Burley. If you're interested in that, it is a very tasty blend. And in fact, it lands for me an extremely strong 3, but not quite a 4. This is not something I would just buy if I saw it out there. As good as it is, I'd leave it for somebody else to have a chance to try. And that's not just out of generosity, but it's good, but it's not good enough for me to want to go out and grab it. There are other Oriental forward blends like Butera Pelican that I would snag every time I saw them on a shelf at a reasonable price. Absolutely. This just is not, this doesn't quite get there as good as it is. Now, for those of you who like red Virginias, this also may appeal to you. There is a little bit of that red Virginia tang in the sweetness underneath this. Not at all a bad blend. People sometimes look at it and say, why is everything a 3? Well, because for me, 3 is average. And average, most things should fall in a bell curve somewhere close around 3. Now, this is a very high 3, but still not a 4. All right, folks. I am rambling on enough. I'm going to go finish this, edit this video, and provide it to you for your viewing enjoyment. In the meantime, while I'm doing that, and well, long before you hear this, light something you like. Enjoy this beautiful afternoon.